What is going on, Locks Mob, and welcome back to the Week 10 edition of Addy's Action. I am the host of Addy's Action. My name is Addy. I am from LocksDFS.com, where we provide optimized lineups for every sport you can think of. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I just want to say, man, if you guys have found your way back to this video, if you're new here or if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. It means a lot. These videos have been doing awesome since I started doing them in week 3, and that really means a lot that you guys value what I have to say and that you've been using these videos and these picks to win you money. So it's truly no feeling like that. So I really do appreciate that. This is my Twitter right here at ReallyAddy. You can go ahead and give me a follow if you're interested in anything sports, because that's really all I tweet about. I got NBA takes, NHL takes, NFL takes, anything you're interested in. And I love to respond to you guys. So my Twitter usually blows up like Sunday mornings with a bunch of questions. And I'm hoping it does that again this Sunday, because I love to answer all your questions, whether you DM to me or tweet them at me. I'm definitely going to try and get back to you. It does get a little bit hectic Sunday mornings over here at Locks DFS, but it's all in fun. We love doing this, so no complaints there. So go ahead and give me a follow if you're interested in that. This is the company Twitter at Locks DFS. Go ahead and give this account a follow as well. We just update you guys on anything, man. If you're a member of us, we tweet out changes, updates. We just like to let you know we're pretty transparent with how we're doing. So everything here is, it's just a good follow in general, both of us. So with that being said, LocksDFS.com, again, we've added an all-access 1-month pass as well as a seasonal pass that's been around, but we just added more sports to it. So these are definitely our two best values if you're interested in checking out our optimized lineups and just all our content. I mean, these come with literally every piece of content on our website comes in these two passes. So definitely check it out. We're crushing it, man. We're in the past 16 NHL slates that we played, over 2 weeks worth of NHL slates. We have won 14 of those 16 slates, and the 2 losses were bubbles. If we got one more shot on goal in either one of those, it's a 16-game win streak in hockey, and that's absurd. But we're gonna keep it rolling. Honestly, we're gonna keep it rolling today. Once I get off here, I've already started looking at the hockey lineup. So once we get off here, I'm gonna finalize those and get them out to our members. In addition, if you sign up with either one of these passes, you get access to our members-only Slack chat, where we talk, we discuss plays, we break injury news as soon as it happens to you guys and let you know the pivots. So definitely a valuable place to be. So hit us up, follow me, follow Locks, buy a pass, join the team, and let's get it. But with that all being said, I usually start these videos by recapping how I did last week. Those of you who have watched these videos know I am a one lineup player, so I only roll out one lineup for cash games and tournaments, and I typically include a few of the Addy's Action plays from last week in there. Obviously, they're tournament plays, so I don't fit them all in, but I do get quite a few of them in, and this was my lineup for last week. So I actually missed cash in double ups last week. This isn't a tournament. Obviously, I missed cash in that too. It was crazy. I didn't know I missed cash because I only played in a couple pretty big head-to-heads, and I ended up winning both of those. So I guess I got lucky, ended up profiting despite a lineup that didn't cash in double-ups. But I really liked the process behind this lineup, and I thought it was a really good team. So, hey, we're just going to keep going back to it. It's all good. I think that's 7. I think that brings my record to 7 of 9 now as far as NFL slates go. So still a very good season, still profitable. And we're going to make it 8 of 10 with a few of these picks that I have for y'all this week. But just to recap our lineup, or my lineup, I guess, I talked about Ryan Fitzpatrick in last week's Addy's Action. He was awesome. 4 passing touchdowns, only 243 yards passing. He would have easily broken the 300 yards passing mark had he not thrown a pick in the last drive. It was like a garbage time drive that he was just going to rack up yards, maybe even another touchdown, but still put up over 25. Awesome score for 5.5K. Kareem Hunt, I actually had McCaffrey in here for the longest time, but then come Sunday morning, I just couldn't figure out a way to make the lineup fit, and I had to end up dropping off Kenny Golladay and Christian McCaffrey for Kareem Hunt and Marvin Jones Jr. I got lucky that worked out, and it helped me, cash those head-to-heads that I played in. I will say that the one process play that I did get wrong in this week was Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph going. Adam Thielen was actually the cover boy of last week's Addy's action. I was super high on him. I don't think I factored in enough Stephon Diggs being out and just the added coverage that I would put on Adam Thielen, but I really was high on him because I thought Detroit would generate a lot of pressure on this Minnesota offensive line, and Kirk Cousins overwhelmingly targets Adam Thielen when under pressure, so I thought that the target count would be there, but and it was. I think he got like 8 or 9 targets, but he just didn't do too much with it, and so it was fine. I mean, I'm sorry, Adam Thielen, that I broke your 100-yard streak. I won't make you the cover boy next time, but yeah, I think the reason I kind of got these two plays wrong is that Detroit is the 31st team in second neutral pace of play. So I probably shouldn't have taken two guys in a pretty drastic pace down matchup because this game just flew by. It was a 1 p.m. game, and I remember that this game was like halfway through the second quarter when a lot of those games were ending the first quarter. So this game, I mean, the pace of this game, like Detroit was just running the ball, taking a lot of time off the clock. So definitely look into that more a little bit. But regardless, we're a forward-thinking show, and I honestly have some amazing plays for you guys this week. I'm super excited about this week of Addy's action because I got some guys written down here with some notes that I just love. So that being said, let's actually get right into this. So I got DraftKings pulled up right here. I usually start each of these videos by talking about who I think the chalk will be in a few ownership projections I like to look at, as well as who I personally think the chalk will be, and then how we're going to pivot off that, because Addy's action, as you all know, is a GPP-oriented video. Now, with that being said, I think the chalk this week is looking like I saw some Pat Mahomes in the ownership projections. I saw some Ryan Fitzpatrick's in there, which I really like. I love the Ryan Fitzpatrick call again. Quick note on that, the Bucs QB position does average more fantasy points per game than the number one fantasy quarterback in the league, Pat Mahomes. I don't know if that's still true. It was true last week, but Pat Mahomes had a good week last week, so maybe that switched up. I don't know. But regardless, it's close enough. I mean, this is like the Chiefs of the East as far as Todd Monken's aggressive play calling, et cetera, et cetera. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, an awesome play. They only bumped his price up like 400, and you can just see the fantasy points per game differential between him and some of the other guys in this price range. So I love Fitz as well. I saw a few people talking about Andy Dalton. Alex Smith was up there a little bit in a good matchup versus Tampa Bay. But for the sake of Addy's action, there is an underpriced quarterback here. That's Andrew Luck. 5.5K. I think Andrew Luck's going to probably be he's definitely going to be my, I mean, I love him in tournaments, but I think he's probably going to end up being my cash game quarterback as well. As you guys know, I'm a one lineup guy, so it means the same thing, but I think Andrew Luck will find his way into all my lineups. I mean, at 5.5K, this just looks like DraftKings priced him down versus Jacksonville because of the matchup, but Jacksonville has been not as dominant of a defense this year as sort of their name brand carries as far as last year goes. They're still like 10th in the league versus the pass, but they will be missing their number 2 cornerback, A.J. Boye, for this matchup. The Colts are coming off a bye week, so I do think they had a few more they had more time to prepare for this defense. And this is just a high-volume quarterback at 5.5K. I mean, he's been a top 8 fantasy quarterback the last 5 weeks, yet he's priced. I mean, you can barely even see him if you scroll to the top. He's right here at the very bottom. The Colts have one of the most improved offensive lines in the league. They rank 6th in the league in adjusted sack rate allowed, so they're not letting Andrew Luck get hit. I don't think Andrew Luck's been sacked on his last 160 dropbacks, so they're keeping him upright. And I think a lot of people think this Colts offensive line might be bad because of how they started the season, but they're healthy now. Fully healthy now, and they've really been dominant the past few weeks of the season. So I love Andrew Luck, and also, I mean, this the Jags defensive line's adjusted sack rate is 24th in the league. They've also traded Dante Fowler, so they're not generating that much pressure. And that's, again, the biggest thing that I look for my quarterback is I want him to have a clean pocket, because a clean pocket is really, really correlated to a strong fantasy game, because any quarterback that has time to throw can pick apart any defense. And when it's a quarterback as talented as Andrew Luck coming off a bye week, I'm interested in that for sure. Indianapolis, a few more notes on this. Indianapolis ranks second in the league in seconds neutral pace of play. The Jags rank 13th. They may slow down a bit this week with Leonard Fournette back. They may try and go back to that ground and pound game, especially with Fournette and Hyde there now in addition to Yeldon. And they'll try and get the ball out of Blake Bortles' hands. But I do think they'll fall behind in this game. And I think they'll be forced to kind of air it out. And I think this game could be I won't go as far as say a sneaky shootout, but I will say that I think it could be higher scoring than most people think. It's already at a 46.5 over-under. The Colts are projected for a healthy around 25 points, so over 3 touchdowns, almost 4 touchdowns. And I think a lot of that comes through the arm of Andrew Luck. And again, he's at home. T.Y. Hilton, one of his key pass catchers, has pretty drastic home road splits, so it's also a good spot for him, despite the fact that he'll be blanketed by Jalen Ramsey. I like Jack Doyle in this matchup. He's popping his chalk as for tight end. So a few of Luck's pass catchers also in good spots, which again speaks to the fact that Andrew Luck's in a great spot, and the fact that he's 5.5K. I mean, that makes no sense. Like, why is he priced this cheap? That doesn't even make sense to me. So lock in Andrew Luck, honestly, as my Addy's Action quarterback of this week. I'm very, very high on him. But with that being said, let's move on to running back. Running back's interesting because when I was looking into these plays earlier in the week, I was thinking about talking about Dion Lewis, but now he's popping as pretty heavy chalk in a lot of places, and rightfully so. I mean, he's only 4.6K on DraftKings, which is incredibly cheap. He emerged as sort of the lead back last game. He did get vultured by Derrick Henry, and that's always a risk, but he also scored a touchdown himself. And they're projected to be trailing by quite a few points versus the Patriots, and that's always good for Dion Lewis as a guy who gets a lot of his volume from catching the ball out of the backfield. So this will be a chalky running back right here at 4.6K. In addition to that, we'll also see the top two guys be super chalky because they're both in good matchups, and they're both just amazing plays, Gurley and Gordon. Coming into this week, I thought about that I'm going to do a lot to try and force these guys in because I just want the touches and the touchdown equity that comes from these guys. I mean, having good running backs has bailed a lot of teams out the past few weeks. Like, I know I got bailed out last week because I had Hunt and Kamara who went off. I think a lot of people had that combo who went off, but a couple weeks prior, the week that had the Martavis Bryant goose egg, I think that might have just been like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I still got bailed out by James Conner and Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon. So running backs have been bailing a lot of bad teams out, or a lot of bad receiving plays out, I guess, cheap receivers. So I think a lot of people will go back to Gurley and Gordon, and I love that. And just, I mean, Kamara and Hunt are in awesome spots as well. So I think we'll see a lot of ownership up here, and then when people do come down, they're going to come down to Dion Lewis. And so I'm going to pick another running back that's in this sort of low range, and this guy, I am itching to talk about this guy. And that's Aaron Jones. I played Aaron Jones in the showdown slate that Green Bay was on versus New England. He was, I think the Packers had first and goal from the 5 and first and goal from the 3, and they didn't hand the ball to Aaron Jones at all. So that is the risk that you run with Mike McCarthy back there. But I will say this, with Ty Montgomery traded after what he did and all that, and he's on the Ravens now, we could have we all projected Aaron Jones routes run to increase and his passing game upside to increase a little bit with Ty Montgomery gone, and we saw that. I mean, Aaron Jones set a new season high in routes run last week. He got 4 targets, which was also a season high. He got 14 carries, which was also a lot for Aaron Jones, who typically doesn't get too many touches, as you can see. I mean, 6, 11, 7, 8, 12, and then 14. And that was in a game that they lost 17-31. And a big note on this is he did lose a critical fumble towards the end of the game, but Mike McCarthy did go back to him. And why? And I mean, he has to. I mean, Aaron Jones is such a talented runner. Just if you look. I mean, you see his rushing attempts. Now look at his yards per carry. 7, 5.9, 5.7, 5.1, 7.2, 5.4. If this dude gets 15 or more carries, he's a legit threat to break 100 yards with how efficient of a runner he is. He's running behind a Packers offensive line that is sneakily one of the better run blocking offensive lines in the league. I think they're third in yards created prior to contact. And Aaron Jones is a beast of a runner. I just wrote right by his name here. I wrote dynamic talent. Because that's what he is, and he's 5K. The Dolphins have given up over 5 yards per carry the last 6 weeks to running backs. And truthfully, man, this guy, 4.6K, he's chalk. He's a 7-point road dog. We do know that he's got pass game upside, and that's actually good for him. So I'm not going to go in and talk bad about Deion Lewis because he's probably going to be in my lineup. But you do want to. It is ideal to take running backs as home favorites, and ideally big home favorites. And that's what you're getting in Green Bay. I mean, you have a 10.5-point home favorite, slight movement in their direction, but I mean, they are getting 80% of the bets. So, but you got a 10.5-point home favorites. Aaron Jones is probably going to salt away the clock once the Packers jump out to a fairly big lead. I don't know the word I was looking for there, but a fairly substantial lead is what I was looking for. And he will split carries with Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams got, I believe, 9 carries last week to Aaron Jones' 14. So you are taking a guy who is going to give up a few touches, but he will get the goal line work, or at least he should get the goal line work, and he should have an increase in the passing game. And he's honestly got an amazing matchup. So I really like the idea of locking in Aaron Jones. I'm going to talk about it when I get to wide receivers, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling is popping his chalk for wide receivers. And so I do think that, and he's a good play, and I'll talk about it, but I do think Aaron Jones is a good pivot off of that Marquez Valdez-Scantling chalk because he is, the third mouth to feed in that passing game behind Devontae Adams and Jimmy Graham. And so I do think if you can pivot off of that with Aaron Jones, they're actually the same price. They're both 5K. I personally like Aaron Jones more. And so I know I'm probably going to try and get him in. And I think there's merit to playing them both as well. I mean, this Packers offense is projected to score, I think, 29 points. That is what that said. 29 points, and I think they probably break the 30 mark here. I think they sort of punish this bad Miami offense. So I think there's merit to just kind of going with both of those guys if you want to. But yeah, so that is the Addy's Action running back play, Aaron Jones. And with that being said, let's move on to wide receiver. So again, identifying chalk, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is popping his chalk in a lot of places, and rightfully so. Geronimo Allison is out. Randall Cobb is banged up. And this Miami secondary outside of Xavier Howard, who's probably going to shadow Devontae Adams, is really bad. So good spot for Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Another guy that's popping his chalk is Michael Thomas. I think people are buying in on last week, and he's got another great matchup versus Cincinnati. He's a little expensive for my taste, just being on the road. So I don't know if I'm going to be going there because the Addy's Action wide receiver that I'm going to talk about is also a high-priced wide receiver, although not as highly priced as he should be. But just to identify chalk, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry is popping his chalk in a few places, and I really like the Jarvis Landry call. He, in my opinion, is one of the wide receivers that's due for the most positive regression. He's getting a ton of red zone looks, yet not a ton of touchdowns, so I do expect that to regress, and I like Jarvis Landry. Not popping his chalk at all, but a wide receiver I like is T.Y. Hilton, sheerly underpriced at 5.7K. He will be matched up against Jalen Ramsey, probably shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. But this is a guy who's had pretty drastic home road splits his entire career. I believe it holds true this year as well. Let's see, home games. I mean, he averages about 6 more fantasy points per game at home. So a good play there as well. Let's go ahead. So a good play there as well. But he's not the guy I want to talk about. I just like him this week. The guy I want to talk about personally is Mike Evans. I guess the theme of this ad is actually with Andrew Luck just being underpriced. It's just underpriced studs. Mike Evans last week was, I got to find a better way to put this. Mike Evans last week was 8.1K in an equally good matchup versus Carolina. I mean, we've seen, he's going up against Washington this week. We've seen Washington get flamed by boundary wide receivers the past few weeks, the past 3 or 4 weeks, it was capped off by Julio Jones absolutely obliterating Josh Norman last week. Josh Norman didn't even have a chance of covering Julio Jones. And I'm not saying Mike Evans is Julio Jones, but they're similar style of wide receiver. They're both really big, really strong, really fast. So I do think Mike Evans is a guy that could give Josh Norman some fits because he is probably going to see a lot of Josh Norman this game. But he's just underpriced, man. You saw he only had 1 reception. He got 10 targets, though, under Fitzpatrick. So you may think there's not a connection there, but there is, in fact, a connection there, almost more so than there is between Jameis and Mike Evans. You look at this game versus Cincinnati, and you think, oh, Jameis started this game, so Mike Evans only goes off under Jameis. Well, no, I mean, this 72-yard touchdown came from Ryan Fitzpatrick after he replaced Jameis. So there's definitely a connection there, as opposed to what people might try and tell you this week. And he's just sheerly underpriced. I mean, a 1.1K price drop, there's not much else to say about that. Like, this is like I talked about, Tom Monken has a very fantasy-friendly scheme as far as the fact that he loves to throw the ball. He loves to throw deep balls and high-value targets. So Mike Evans is going to get a lot of end zone looks and a lot of deep ball looks. So I think he is probably going to put up a pretty monster game. And I like him to fall somewhere in between here, like a 25 to 28 point game range, and that is a bet for 7K. So Mike Evans is my Addy's Action receiver of the week. So far we got Luck, Jones, Mike Evans, and we will move on to tight end. Now at tight end, most of the ownership projections I like to look at have Jack Doyle leading the way. I love this play. He's probably going to be the guy I would pair my Andrew Luck pick with. I mean, he's 4.3K, which is just super cheap for an Andrew Luck tight end. Andrew Luck, since his college days, has been a guy who's really bolstered his tight end's value because he loves to look for his tight end. And this Jacksonville defense is most likely going to be missing Tevin Smith, who's a really good cover linebacker for them. So he would be the guy who's primarily tasked with guarding Jack Doyle. So if he's out, Jack Doyle's a smash play and probably a chalk that I'm willing to eat. A few other chalk plays I saw. I mean, Travis Kelce was up there because of last week and the fact that there's just not a lot of nice options to pay up for. I saw O.J. Howard popping also probably because of last week, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a good spot for him, and he's just emerging as a true breakout talent this year, like many people thought he would. But for the sake of this video, and since I know a lot of y'all are going to be jamming in both these high-priced running backs, I tried to find you a cheap tight end that I liked who wasn't popping in ownership projections, and I did find one, and that's Rikki Seals-Jones. The biggest takeaway from Rikki Seals-Jones is the fact that under Byron Leftwich, he ran a season high in routes run. Byron Leftwich, by the way, new offensive coordinator for them. He talked about getting Fitz and David Johnson more involved and using them properly, and I think that carries on to Rikki Seals-Jones as well. He ran, I believe, 37 or 38 pass routes last week, which was a season high for him. And he's a guy who typically gets between 4 and 6 targets a week, which is super good. I mean, for 3K, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic. The Chiefs give up the most. I think they've allowed the most yards in the league to tight ends out of all AFC teams. So they're not good at covering the tight end position. One note I will say on the Chiefs is they are a vastly improved defense at home. They're very targetable on the road as they give up over, I believe, 30 points per game on the road. Yet at home, it's under 19 points per game. And I do think one thing I didn't mention is a lot of people, I'm hearing a lot of positive talk about this Arizona offense as far as Fitz and David Johnson go, but I'm not hearing much about Rikki Seals-Jones. And I like the fact, because this isn't a great spot that you want to go after like a chalk Larry or a chalk if David Johnson ends up being like owned. You don't really want to go after that because they're still pretty expensive. I mean, Larry's like 5'5", and David Johnson's 6'7", and you're targeting a defense at home that's actually pretty good. But I'm willing to eat that. I'm willing to go there at 3K versus Kansas City because it just doesn't hurt you that bad. He could achieve value even if this Arizona offense just stalls out behind a rookie quarterback in a very tough place to play. I still think Rikki Seals-Jones could get his, and we all know rookie quarterbacks tend to lean on their tight end a little more than others. So I love getting Rikki Seals-Jones here at 3K. I think that's an awesome value. And with that being said, let's move on to defense. And as I've told y'all multiple times, and I'm pretty sure I say it every video, I'm not really here to predict like defensive ownership. Defense is such a high variance position that it could go anywhere. I should say defensive points, because ownership you can project, but points it's hard. But the Rams, let me just cut my rambling off right here. The Rams, they're 2.4K versus offensive line in Seattle that we've targeted for all season. Russell Wilson has shown to be a little more turnover prone this year. He's missing some weapons that he had last year. Dusty Doug Baldwin he's a good play this week, but he may not even be able to get the ball if Russell Wilson doesn't have time to throw. This Rams defense has slowly been creeping up the rankings as far as adjusted sack rate goes. They started the season as one of the worst teams, and now I think they're up in they're like 19th or 18th. So they're getting up there. They do have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, who are two of the most dominant interior defensive linemen in the league. And interior pressure is how you wreck any quarterback in any offensive line. So I think the Seattle offensive line, especially in LA, is in for a very, very tough game. So I'll probably just jam the Rams in, and I think it makes for good correlation play with Todd Gurley. But I think most people will be going there. The Rams popped up as kind of like the highest projected ownership defense of the week, but I'm comfortable playing them regardless of that. If you want to go with the Aaron Jones take, I do think the Packers defense is a good correlation play with them because this Miami offense is garbage. They're being spearheaded by Brock Osweiler, who I think threw for a whopping like 150 yards last week. Nothing to fear. It's in Green Bay, which is historically a very tough place to play at Lambeau. So I do like the idea of going with this Packers defense that's now getting a little bit healthier and pairing it up with Aaron Jones and kind of getting that correlation there. But yeah, with that being said, that will be all for Addy's action. As always, if you guys have any questions that pop up throughout the week, please do tweet me. I will get back to you. I shouldn't say throughout the week, throughout the next couple days before Sunday. Tweet me, man. I will get back to you. I know how hard those 1v1s and 2v2s can be when you're trying to decide on it Sunday morning. And if you just need another person, another opinion, or someone to validate your own opinion, hit me up. Hit me up at ReallyAddy, and I will definitely help you guys out. So with that being said, thank you all for finding your way back here. Please do like, comment, and subscribe on this video. As always, we're running that same giveaway where we just look for active members, active subscribers, just on Twitter and on YouTube, and we pick a winner every Sunday night on our showdown video. We'll pick a winner, and we'll give you guys a pass to any sport you want. NFL, NBA, NHL, they're all valued at like $250. So all a super good deal, and you can come join the Locks Mob and start winning with us. So with that being said, thank you guys for checking it out, and I will catch you next week.